What's important is that the work is a really kind of a beautiful homage to Picasso's surrealist works in the 30s, but in a very playful kind of way.
There's no irony, there's no cynicism.
No. But
all that other big 80s stuff about indicting our commercialism and all this kind of da-da-da-da-da, and Maryland's the new religion and all that stuff, that made sense. You know, and I'm not like delegitimizing the pop art movement, but this just doesn't seem
as ironic, and yet funny enough, the paintings have a kind of a haunted.
Cut it out in post.
So what's wonderful about this piece is here he's done his riff on Picasso and now he's drawing on his own, and it's a really, really rich, ironic, sarcastic piece, particularly this wonderful nose that's descending down through the grouping and down to the feet of the figure below. And it's replicated in this little figure over here on the side. So it's kind of a nosy conversation. It's not just sweet and pleasant. And that's what's really so exciting about it.
Condo has reintroduced painting and history to a generation that was reacting to something quite differently. What Keith Haring and Basquiat, they were not so much interested in being part of the continuum, but Condo seems to have those hooks, be it in his reference to music or his reference to art history.
Hello there, my name's Susie Plaxton, and I've known just a bit about George Condo from just a few people had sent me that picture and wild color and strange and hilarious images, and then I walk in and I see lots of black and white, really lovely, really elegant, calm, surprisingly calm. I don't want to call them sketches because it sounds too sketchy. There's so many different facets to each painting.
The paintings have a way of kind of having these little haunted, demonic little forms that
they're hilarious
to show the other side. It reminds me of the cartoons that we used to see as children, where there'd be something going on, and on one side there was the devil, and the other side was the angel. Mm-hmm. And it seems that Condo has somehow tapped into that kind of naughty gremlin. There's something very interesting.
There is something a little bit, that's kind of naughtiness.
Hi, I'm Ruth Weisberg. Condo has kind of 20th century visual language. It's the language of modernism, but he has made it his own. He inhabits it. He is humorous, inventive, witty, and formally they work beautifully. So I am enjoying it enormously, and I'm here in front of one of these wonderful etchings, enjoying both the linear qualities that have a Picasso-esque quality, but also the things that are really profoundly George Condo.
When I look at George Condo's work, I see a real honest mark making. There's a real sense that he's not editing. He's just almost working in a subconscious manner. There's an interpretation of dreams, perhaps. I see a willingness to express the deepest areas of his subconscious. He really feels the need to express his individuality, and in doing so, naturally there'll be some dark elements, some overtly sexual elements. And as an artist myself, I appreciate and admire someone who does not edit and simply lets it pour forth and lets it just come out of him in the most honest and fluid way. And I just really appreciate seeing what's in his mind.
I believe the artist is trying to evoke through a humorous evocation of Miles Davis' Sketches of Spain music, the idea that he has sketches, he made sketches, and he was influenced by Spanish artists. I think that's the Sketches of Spain illusion that he is drawing from this exhibit, which are beautiful pieces. We love the work, and that's my point of view, but it is not the conclusive point of view.
I wonder if he ever went to Spain. That's what I wonder. Well, it seems to me that Condo is obsessed with women, and while he was thinking about women, he thought about the most passionate country, which is Spain, and he's playing Miles Davis' Sketches of Spain, and he gets into a certain Hieronymus Bosch eroticism, and he thinks about, the various paintings that he's loved over time, particularly Picasso. I see a lot of Picasso in his work, and the surrealism reminds me a lot of Patrick Graham.
Patrick Graham, Salvador Dali,
Yeah.
Picasso.
Velasquez.
He has a lot of influences in his work.
But there's a lot of women with children, so I see that again, he's calling on the virgin and child. He's got a number of influences. He's having a good time.
Interesting thing about his art is that when you look at it, you have to ask yourself, how much of what he's doing is he being serious, and how much is he just sort of being mischievous or satiric or whatever. His influence went to an awful lot of other artists, and I'm not sure, but I wonder if it didn't get to Dana Schutz, whose work I think is fabulous. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to always come to a Jack Rutberg show. I never fully know what I'm going to expect. What I do know is every time I leave, I've learned something more about some other artist, and that's saying something.
But there's no question that he's probably the most influential artist on a generation.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Or let's say...
But that's all changed now.
It's slightly because of Kanye.
Yeah, well, perhaps, but the retrospective in New York at the New Museum set an amazing tone, and that's
Kanye.
Well, it may be. It's sometimes the right things happen for all the wrong reasons, and if Kanye West was required to jumpstart people to re-look at things, they're still going to have to see it in person though, and not guess it by virtue of a video screen, because they won't get it.
It was on his album cover.
I understand.
You don't seem as impressed as I am.
Oh, I'm hugely impressed. I was impressed because I saw the retrospective and I wasn't guessing what they looked like. I saw paintings that were brilliant. I was there with Jerome Witkin, who might be among the greatest draftsmen in the world today and one of the greatest painters, and we both ate crow. When we saw those big paintings of George Condo, we both were taken aback because we had underestimated how extraordinary a painter he really was.